Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of All Things Considered. And today, I want to talk about a few things that I have some experience in. I work in finance, and I have a degree in economics. So I have a little bit of knowledge kind of on, I tend to keep up with a lot of the events going on in the government, and even outside of that, in other countries. And with all these protests going on in Cuba and some of the policies that our recent lawmakers have tried to put into place or are looking to put into place, be it stimulus packages or infrastructure spending. Last night the House or the Senate Democrats came into agreement on a $3.5 trillion spending plan. And that brings me to socialism. Now, I think the perceived view of socialism in the United States with a lot of people that support it or looking to go that route is, this picture of everyone pitching in, their fair share for the greater good of society. But what is the real version of socialism? So you have a few principles in economics, and and this is all off the top of my head. I don't script any of this, so if I'm not clear, I apologize. But the first one is everything is scarce in the world. There is no infinity amount, I think I said that right, of goods or services on Earth. Okay, there's a finite amount. Limited resources. And what that means is that to make someone better off, you have to make someone worse off. There's a scale, right? So if you had a 1 to 10 scale, and you had two people, so if you had a product with 10 let's say you had 10 slices of pizza, you can each give each one 5, and they have an equal amount. Or one can have 6, the other one has to have 4. Once you deviate from each getting 5 pieces, an equal number of slices, then one is worse and one is better. So I think where a lot of people want this world to be is everyone gets 5 slices of pizza, right? And they get an equal number of pizzas. The problem is you're not taking into consideration what each person did to receive, their proportionate number of slices. Because where giving everyone 5 slices of pizza runs into a problem is when you have a person that worked all day and made all of the 10 pizzas or 10 slices, and you have another person that just showed up at the restaurant. Okay? So you have people that are putting in more effort and more work and offering more of something to society than others. But they want everyone, regardless of your input, to get the same output. So that is what happened in the Soviet Union. And a lot of the reason the Soviet Union crashed is because of motivation. Because who the hell wants to work and put in all this effort when they're going to get the same amount as the people who aren't doing the same amount? They're not putting in the same effort. It's not rewarding. So that brings me to another principle of economics is people act off incentive. All right, you don't wake up and go to work no matter how much you love it unless you're getting paid. It's the whole point of going to work. Even if you love your job, yeah, a lot of people will, maybe take less money, or if they're starting a business, maybe they'll go so long and put more time into something, before they receive anything for it. But the end goal is to get something out of it. You got to be incentivized for it. And it doesn't have to be monetarily. It can be, you get a good feeling. Like, you do something nice for someone because you feel good about it. Right? So, but it's still an incentive. That feeling is an incentive. And it can all be broken down. And the other thing is there's no such thing as a free lunch. Nothing is free. Literally nothing is free. No matter how you look at it. You can't just pull things out of your ass and out of thin air. Okay? Someone has to create something. If if a company is offering a free meal, you get a gift card to McDonald's for a free hamburger. Someone had to make that hamburger. So while you may not have put any effort in for it, someone did. Thus, it was not free. Okay? The concept of free is one-sided, and it's not one-sided because there's a lot that goes in it. There's many factors that goes into the production of whatever that is that you're receiving for free. So, when we start talking about socialism, it's like, oh, everyone should get the same health care. Okay? Everyone should be able to receive health care. Yes. Everyone should be able to have the same opportunity to get the same health care. Okay? Here's where I think people have a skewed view. Is I should be able to get health care. Like, I should be able to sign up for health insurance. Okay? But that does not mean that I shouldn't have to pay for it. Because, first of all, you have these doctors that work, 10 years of schooling and put in crazy amount of money going through school to get that doctor's degree and to give us the best doctors in the world. Why? Because they're incentivized to do that. You know that if you go and become a doctor, you are probably going to be financially set once you get that white coat. And where does that money come from? It comes from us paying for it, for that service. And if we allow the government to take over and pay for everyone's health care, you're not going to get the quality health care. You're going to have crazy backed up lines in the emergency room. Okay, you're going to have, substandard treatment. You're not going to have innovation because, the reason why we were able to come up with a COVID vaccine so fast is because companies got paid crazy amounts of money to do it. The funding programs were ridiculous. Moderna got more funding to find a COVID vaccine than their entire business was worth and all the revenue they ever created since they've been around. That's why Moderna's stock price just skyrocketed. So, why they were incentivized for it. And you can't say the incentive was to save lives. No, because as many lives as it was going to save, no one that was doing the research on that was doing it for free. Why? Because when they go home at the end of the day, they still got to pay for the food at the grocery store. They still got to pay for the gas to get to work. They still got to, pay into their retirement. The government's still going to take the Social Security tax from them, the Medicare tax from them, and the income taxes from them. So they got to get paid. And, that is just what it is. People act off incentive. You're going to get the best candidates in an industry or you're going to get the best people doing a certain job if it is worth doing. Because some of these jobs are hard. The only job I would say that is extremely difficult and hazardous, probably the most hazardous job out there, and doesn't live up to its pay is being in the military. And I think they should get paid a hell of a lot more than they do. But the reason they don't is because it's a government-run entity, which it should be. But I'm just using that as an example. So there's certain things that that people just don't understand when it comes to the basic concept of economics. If everyone wants to hammer Jeff Bezos for being worth $150 billion. Well, all Jeff Bezos did was create a business that offered something that everyone wants to use. He made everyone's life more convenient, especially during COVID, right? And people paid into it. He didn't just steal money, right? He wasn't just given money. He earned the money. He earned it because people like me and you guys and everyone else that goes online and shops on Amazon, you're going to go buy something on Amazon because it's going to be there the same day. Or, you're going to go subscribe to Amazon Prime because of the benefits that come with being on Amazon Prime. He also, think about how many people make money selling products on Amazon. He's made it into a place where you can go and create your own business and make money from. He's made a lot of people money by having that kind of structure. eBay the same way, right? So he has provided a good or a service that has, in the eyes of the world, been worth the $150 billion that he's worth. And people want to falter him for, he should be, paying his fair share in taxes and all that. Well, that brings me to my next point. There was an article that came out a month ago or so, and it said basically that they did an evaluation on like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, and all those high earning CEOs, and it showed that they truly did not pay their fair share of taxes. What people forget to understand is, like, Jeff Bezos, I think he only made like $800,000 a year salary. That's what he got paid new every year from Amazon as a CEO. Now, he did get obviously stock benefits and he has the majority holding of Amazon. That's what makes him be the owner. That's why he's still, even though he's not the CEO, he still pretty much owns Amazon. So his net worth and income are two different things. You're not taxed the same. We don't have a tax on net worth, only if you make transactions out of that net worth. So $150 billion Jeff Bezos is worth, yes, but he's not $150 billion liquid, okay? He's not spending $150 billion. If anything, Amazon might be. Amazon is making all that money, that $80 billion a quarter or whatever they had. Like, the business is making that money. Jeff Bezos, okay, his net worth, a lot of that comes from the value of his holdings in Amazon. But you have two things or a few different things that kind of work against him on that. One, if he wanted to liquidate $150 billion worth of Amazon stock, the value of the freaking company would, just go to nothing, hardly. Everyone would be like, why the hell is he selling? And it would take a huge hit. It wouldn't go to nothing, but it would take a big hit. The other thing is that, the only way you can really access that money, or at least all of it, would be kind of borrowing against it and be able to get loans. So his credibility, would be a lot higher than everyone else's, because people know that he's good for that money. Banks know that he's good for that money, so he may be able to access more funds through borrowing. And he probably has a lot of damn money in his bank account too, yes. But as far as income, new income, that's what you pay taxes on. If you own a stock, okay, and you buy it today and you hold it for 20 years, you don't pay taxes on that stock or the gains of that stock until you sell it later on. All right? The only thing you'll pay taxes on is dividends. And Amazon doesn't pay a dividend. So, he has money that he already paid taxes on that he used to, let's say it's a regular person and you made $100,000 this year. You pay taxes on your $100,000 of income, whatever that may be. But then you have $20,000 left to invest, and you go and you invest in the stock market, you buy shares of whatever company. at $100 a share, so you own X amount of shares, and that $100 share investment, in 10 years is up at $150 now, right? You've already paid taxes on the initial amount that you invested. That's your principal amount. It's already been taxed. Why the hell would anyone want the government to say, we're going to tax net worth, which would then allow the government to tax the principal amount again? You'd be getting hit twice. Or really, if it was every year, you'd be getting hit every year on the money you've already paid the government taxes in. Now, as far as, the gains, like the difference, the $50 worth of stock, or the $50 in gains, you're only going to pay taxes now if you sell that position, okay? Which means you liquidate it, and then you're basically taking the gains and putting them in your bank account to use the money. Well, that you only pay taxes on the gains because you've never paid taxes on that before. So that's fine. That's called in that sense, it'd be a long-term capital gain. And whatever rate you pay, whatever, there's other factors that go into that, but you would pay taxes on that. So what people are actually talking about doing though is taxing net worth. And I have a huge problem with taxing net worth because you've already paid income taxes. Your net worth is derived from money you've earned over time from some shape or form, and you've already paid taxes on the money that you earned. So if someone is starting at nothing and they go and they start a business, they make $100,000 a year for 10 years and they save up, half of it, let's say, so they have $500,000 in the bank. They would have paid taxes every year on their income, the $100,000, the money that they've saved, that $500,000, they've already paid taxes on it. Why the hell would we want to start taxing them on their net worth after that and make them pay taxes again on money they've already paid taxes on? All right, there's no incentive to invest it and grow it then. So if you want to start taxing net worth, then you have no incentive to even grow net worth because you're giving it all back to the government, especially once you get to a certain amount. They want to tax it at some crazy rate. Okay? There's a huge problem with taxing net worth. I know people have different opinions on this, but I am definitely not a proponent of giving the government too much because they don't use it properly anyway. But it's not fair for someone to have to pay taxes on a certain amount of money and then you want to go back and take more and more and more of that money that they've already paid taxes on. That is just crazy to me. As far as like any of the gains, which is new money that you earned on that principal amount, that's a different story. Okay? And even then, I'm not even going to go into my opinion on that, but I think that if you kind of lowered some of that stuff, it would actually, you would incentivize new investment. When I invest money for people, some of the stuff that we look at is, what tax advantages are there? That's why people invest in IRAs and Roth IRAs, right? Because the tax advantages, and it all depends on what their specific situation is. But the reason why rich are not going to pay their fair share in taxes is because they have the money to put away into products that provide these tax advantages, right? More so than someone who doesn't make a lot of money, they don't have a lot of money to save. But the person who doesn't have a lot of money, that doesn't have a lot of money to save, isn't paying as high a rate in taxes as the rich person that has to save money to take advantage of tax advantages. So it's kind of relative. It's in a way, but you also need to look at it like this. If someone is working at Burger King making $30,000 a year, and then the people working at, some, let's say, software company making $200,000 a year, okay? The person at the software company is providing a service that is viewed to be more valuable than the service the person at Burger King is working at or is doing. So it's all, the reason you're being paid is because you're providing a product that is worth the amount you're being paid, especially if you're an employee. because the businesses are only going to pay you what they can pay you, what you're bringing in. This is why women's sports don't make as much money as men's sports. It's not because we hate women. No, it's because everyone likes watching men's sports more, and they bring in more revenue. If you look at the revenue with the NBA and the WNBA, it's not even freaking close. So how the hell are you going to pay women in the WNBA the same amount, multi-million dollar contracts like the NBA is getting, when they don't even make multi-millions of dollars in revenue? The NBA, I think, has to fund a lot of the WNBA salaries as it is. For Megan Rapinoe to get up there and complain about we win World Cups and we should get paid the same amount as the men and all that stuff. No. And I think our women's soccer team is great. It's the best in the world. I love watching them. But when the men, as bad as they are, go play in a tournament for the World Cup, the revenue that World Cup generates over the Women's World Cup is not even freaking close. And so, the men's team brings in more money, winning or not, it doesn't matter. That's why I always say, the worst Major League Baseball player is getting paid a hell of a lot more money than the best softball player in the world. The only way they wouldn't be is maybe with some endorsement stuff. But as far as what they're getting paid from the actual sport itself, the worst. That's why I don't understand, this whole transgender issue of letting Laurel Hubbard compete in the women's division. If there was no physical difference, and I brought this up in the last video, if there was no physical difference in a guy transitioning to be a woman, taking, estrogen therapy or whatever, and bringing his testosterone levels down to that of a woman, then there would be no difference in a woman taking a bunch of testosterone, transitioning to being a man and being able to compete with men. But you don't see that. You don't see that because they can't do it, because physically they're not able to do that, no matter how much testosterone they take. And you would think that if it was equal, if a woman could transition to being a man, like a man transitions to being a woman, if that was equal, it would be far more rewarding for a woman to go and play men's sports, because they would make more money. Because being the worst NBA player is going to make more money than the best WNBA player. So someone like Candace Parker, it would be more incentivizing to her to try and become a man and play in the NBA than it would be for a man to become a woman and play in the WNBA. It'd be far more incentivizing because, just money to start. So, I think that an understanding of economics and the way business works and the way that, that people get paid, okay, I think that a lack of understanding, is why people are on this whole socialist train. Because they don't understand what goes into the economy, why the economy works a certain way, why capitalism is far more creative, innovative, and prosperous than any communist or socialist country, all of them combined. Okay? So, that's just something that I think we need to start teaching in school, for one, and we need to have people teach it to actually know what they're talking about, not some liberal socialist teacher teaching economics, because they have a skewed view. Because if you have a person who favors socialism, I'm sorry, but they just don't understand simple economics. Bernie Sanders doesn't freaking understand economics. I've heard him talk about it. AOC damn sure doesn't know economics, which I still cannot get over the freaking fact that AOC is on our financial board or whatever that is that, the house has, where you're on your little boards, and she's on the financial one with no freaking experience. Because I've worked in the industry for a long time, and I wouldn't say I have near the experience to work on something as important as that. But we let anyone be a part of it, and that's why we're going to be in a situation we're in. As prosperous as our economy has been the last few years, okay, as prosperous as the stock market has been, printing this money and spending it, it's all going to go downhill eventually. I don't know when, but it will. You can just look at it, have an understanding, and say there's going to be a big pullback. And when there is, people are going to bitch and complain, and it's going to come back. It's going to go up eventually, right? Depending on which way the country goes. But, you know, this is stuff that we need to teach in school. We need to start teaching kids the basics of finance and the basics of economics. No matter how difficult it may be, we need to start teaching them at a young age, and everyone needs to understand it. Okay? Everyone needs to understand leverage and borrowing money and why you should do it, why you shouldn't do it. Okay? We need to teach people how to balance checkbooks. We need to teach people how to, you know, about credit cards. We need to teach people about credit scores. We need to teach people, you know, our kids about investing in the stock market and why the stock market does what it does and why it's important, and, you know, real estate and all that stuff. But we don't. We want to make them take freaking drama class in college. I remember I had to take a freaking drama class and pay to take a drama class in college, and I don't even want to act. Why did I have to take a humanities? Why couldn't I, you know, take an extra finance course? Why couldn't I take an extra economics course? You know, why do I need to take drama or you know, whatever? Why don't we make them take PE and be healthier? Other than that, if they want to take drama, that's fine. If they want to take art, that's fine. They can do that, but don't force people to have that elective. You know, let's force them to have something that's actually gonna, you know, be very beneficial in all of their lives, because everyone is gonna need money. Everyone's gonna need to work. Okay, and it would only benefit them to give them a better understanding of that. So if you like the video, you know, hit like and subscribe, and thank you.